Stop. Before you take another sip of water to swallow your morning vitamins, you need to look at those bottles very carefully. Because for most Americans over 60, what I'm about to say is going to be a shock to your system. You aren't just wasting your hard-earned retirement money, you might be actively hardening your arteries and forcing your kidneys toward a slow, silent collapse. I'm Dr. Katherine Bennett, and today, we are exposing the billion-dollar health mirage. We've been conditioned to believe that these pills are our insurance policy for a long life. But the latest clinical data reveals a terrifying truth. 3 of the most popular vitamins in the United States are essentially toxic clutter for the aging body. In this video, I am revealing exactly which 3 vitamins are a complete waste of your money after age 60, and more importantly, why they are a direct threat to your kidney filtration and your heart valves. If you've been feeling more fatigued, noticing strange swelling, or just wondering why you're spending $100 a month at the pharmacy only to feel older every day, this is the answer you haven't been told. We are moving past the marketing brochures and going straight to the nephrology reports, because your golden years shouldn't be spent petrifying your internal organs with synthetic dust. Let's start with the most dangerous lie sitting in your cabinet right now. Let's dive into the first and perhaps most controversial topic, the daily multivitamin. It is the ultimate catch-all of the American household. Whether it's a generic store brand or a high-end silver formula specifically marketed to seniors, nearly 40% of older adults in the US take one every single day. The logic feels incredibly sound. Life is busy, our diets aren't always perfect, and if I don't eat enough kale or salmon today, this little pill will cover the gap. It feels like safety. But here's the biological reality that the marketing teams at major pharmaceutical companies don't want you to see on the label. When you are in your 20s or 30s, your digestive system is like a high-performance furnace. It has the enzymatic strength and the acid levels to break down almost anything you put into it. But as we cross the threshold of 60, our bodies undergo a process called atrophic gastritis. This means the acid-producing cells in your stomach lining begin to diminish. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a fundamental shift in how you interact with nutrition. Many of these mass-produced multivitamins are manufactured to be shelf-stable for years. They are packed incredibly tight with binders, industrial fillers, and artificial coatings designed to keep the pill from crumbling in the bottle. However, an older digestive tract, with its lower acid levels and slower motility, often cannot break these stones down. In medical circles, we see this all the time in abdominal x-rays or during colonoscopies. We find these pills almost entirely intact in the digestive tract. We call them bedpan bullets. You are literally paying for nutrients that your body never even has the chance to see, let alone absorb. But let's look deeper at the kidney connection, which is where the real waste becomes a risk. Your kidneys are the ultimate precision filters of your blood. Their job is to maintain a perfect balance of minerals and vitamins. Every synthetic nutrient you swallow that your body doesn't immediately need must be processed, filtered, and excreted. By age 60, the average American has lost about 20 to 30% of their kidneys' filtering capacity, often due to subclinical high blood pressure or just the natural senescence of the nephrons, the tiny units that do the filtering. When you flood your system with a high-dose multivitamin containing 500% of the daily value of vitamin C or massive amounts of B vitamins, your kidneys have to go into overdrive. They are forced to work at maximum capacity to flush out the excess synthetic chemicals. For an older adult, this is like redlining the engine of a classic car every single day for no reason. You aren't becoming superhuman. You are just creating incredibly expensive urine and putting unnecessary cumulative miles on your internal filtration system. Furthermore, a landmark study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, which followed tens of thousands of individuals over nearly 2 decades, concluded that there was no clear evidence that multivitamins reduced the risk of heart disease, cancer, or cognitive decline. In fact, some data suggested that people who oversupplemented had a slightly higher mortality rate. The lesson is clear. Your body craves the complex living matrix of nutrients found in real food, where vitamins are bonded to fibers and enzymes, not the isolated, dead chemicals found in a lab-made pill. The second health trap I want to discuss is particularly close to the hearts of many of my female patients: calcium supplements. We have been conditioned by decades of public health messaging to fear osteoporosis. The image of a fragile hip fracture is a nightmare for anyone over 60, as it often marks the end of independence. In response, millions of Americans head to stores like Costco or Sam's Club to buy the largest jugs of calcium carbonate or calcium citrate they can find. But there is a phenomenon known as the calcium paradox that is currently causing heated debates in top-tier medical journals. Your body is a masterpiece of regulation, but that regulation has limits. When you consume calcium naturally, say through a bowl of sardines, a serving of leafy greens, or even high-quality dairy, the calcium enters your bloodstream in a slow, controlled trickle. It is accompanied by fats, proteins, and other cofactors that tell your body exactly what to do with that mineral. However, when you pop a concentrated 1,000 milligram calcium supplement, you are essentially slamming your bloodstream with a massive, sudden spike of mineral dust. Because aging bones are no longer as metabolically active or efficient at grabbing this calcium out of the blood, that excess mineral has to go somewhere. And unfortunately, the latest imaging technology shows us a terrifying trend, that calcium isn't migrating to your hips or your spine. Instead, it is settling into your soft tissues. It settles into your heart valves, making them stiff and crunchy. It settles into the delicate lining of your aorta and your coronary arteries. This is a process we call vascular calcification. Essentially, you are petrifying your circulatory system from the inside out. This stiffening of the arteries causes your heart to work much harder to pump blood, which drives up systolic blood pressure and significantly increases the risk of a myocardial infarction, a heart attack. And let's talk about the kidneys again. The kidneys are responsible for the fine-tuning of calcium levels in the blood. When you force them to deal with these massive, daily spikes of synthetic calcium, you are providing the perfect recipe for nephrolithiasis, better known as kidney stones. If you have ever experienced a kidney stone, you know it is a level of agony that can hospitalize even the strongest individual. For an older adult, the dehydration and stress of a kidney stone can lead to acute kidney injury. The British Medical Journal published a meta-analysis of clinical trials involving thousands of seniors and found that calcium supplements were associated with a 30% increased risk of heart attack, while providing only a very marginal, almost negligible benefit to bone density. The science is shifting. We now know that to build strong bones after 60, you don't need more chalk in a pill. You need weight-bearing exercise, adequate vitamin D from the sun, and vitamin K2 from fermented foods to act as a traffic cop that tells the calcium to stay in the bones and out of the heart. Taking a cheap calcium pill is not just a waste of money, it is a roadmap to stiff arteries and kidney stones. The third and perhaps most dangerous waste of money in the supplement aisle is high-dose vitamin E. For years, vitamin E was the golden child of the anti-aging movement. Because it is a fat-soluble antioxidant, the theory was that it would mop up free radicals and keep our cells, our skin, and our hearts forever young. It sounded perfect in theory, but the human body is far more complex than a test tube. In American pharmacies, most vitamin E you find is a synthetic form called DL-alpha tocopherol. Notice that little L in the name? That indicates it's a synthetic mirror image of the natural vitamin, and your body knows the difference. Research into high-dose vitamin E has been so disappointing that several major clinical trials had to be stopped early for safety reasons. For example, the SELECT trial, a massive study funded by the National Cancer Institute, found that vitamin E didn't prevent disease. It actually increased the risk of prostate cancer in men and, more alarmingly, increased the risk of heart failure in older adults. The reason this is a profound waste of money is that vitamin E is incredibly abundant in a standard healthy diet. If you eat a handful of almonds, a few slices of avocado, or use high-quality olive oil, you are getting the natural D-alpha tocopherol complex that your body recognizes and loves. When you take a pill containing 400, 800, or even 1,000 international units, you are entering a zone of pharmacological toxicity. This massive dose of synthetic oil interferes with your body's ability to use other fat-soluble vitamins, most notably vitamin K1, which is the primary switch for blood clotting. If you are over 60 in America today, there's a very high statistical probability that you are already taking a baby aspirin, a statin, or a prescription blood thinner like Eliquis or warfarin for heart protection. When you add a high-dose vitamin E supplement to this pharmaceutical mix, you are effectively thinning your blood to a dangerous degree. This significantly increases the risk of internal bleeding and, most catastrophically, a hemorrhagic stroke, where a weakened blood vessel in the brain bursts under pressure. Your kidneys and your liver are then left with the monumental task of trying to break down and clear these highly concentrated synthetic oils from your system, adding metabolic stress to organs that should be focused on keeping your blood clean and your energy high. Now, let's take a moment to discuss why we are so tempted by these bottles in the first place. There is a deep psychological comfort in the quick fix. We live in a culture that wants results now, and we want them in an easy-to-swallow format. The supplement industry knows this. They know that as we age, we feel a sense of vulnerability. We feel the creaks in our joints and the fog in our memory, and we want to fight back. They use label claim loopholes to make you believe these pills are essential. For instance, a bottle might say, supports heart health, but if you read the fine print required by the FDA, it often says, these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This is a multi-billion-dollar loophole that allows companies to sell you hope in a jar without actually having to prove that it works for a 70-year-old body. The big supplement machine wants you to believe that health is something you can buy, but real health after 60 is a result of what you do and what you don't do. It is about the food matrix. This is a term we use in nutrition science to describe how vitamins, minerals, fiber, and phytonutrients are all woven together in a piece of fruit or a vegetable. Your body is a biological computer that has been programmed over millions of years to recognize and process this matrix. When you strip away the food and just take the chemical isolate in a pill, the software of your body doesn't know how to run the program correctly. Think about your retirement fund. If you are spending $50, $100, or $200 a month on various supplements over a decade, that is tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine if that money was spent on high-quality, organic, pasture-raised foods, or a membership to a local gym with a trainer who understands senior fitness, or even just more travel and social connection, which we know is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. That is a much better insurance policy than a cabinet full of synthetic dust. So, where do we go from here? Does this mean you should go to your kitchen and throw every single bottle into the trash? Not necessarily. My goal today as Dr. Katherine Bennett is to move you from being a passive consumer of marketing to an active advocate for your own biology. The first step in my over 60 strategy is to stop guessing. We live in the age of precision medicine. Instead of buying a multivitamin because a commercial told you to, go to your primary care physician and ask for a comprehensive micronutrient panel. This blood test will tell you exactly what you are lacking. If you are actually low in vitamin D3, which many Americans are, then you take a targeted, high-quality D3 supplement. If you are low in B12 because of your stomach acid levels, you take a targeted B12. This is called targeted supplementation, and it saves your kidneys from having to process all the other junk they don't need. Secondly, embrace the subtraction method. Often, the best thing you can do for your heart and kidneys after 60 is to remove the things that are causing inflammation and stress. Focus on hydration. Pure, clean water is the best supplement your kidneys could ever ask for. Focus on movement. Muscle mass is the strongest predictor of survival as we age. And finally, remember the kidney rule. Your kidneys are your life support system. Every time you consider putting something in your mouth, whether it's a snack or a supplement, ask yourself, is this helping my filters or is it clogging them? America's healthcare and supplement systems are incredibly efficient at selling us fixes in a bottle. But real, vibrant longevity after 60 doesn't come from a lab. It comes from the choices you make in the grocery aisle, the miles you walk in your neighborhood, and the wisdom to know that your body already knows how to heal itself. If you just stop getting in its way with unnecessary chemicals, stop buying the illusion, start investing in the reality of your health. I want to hear from you. How many supplements are you currently taking? Have you ever felt off after starting a new vitamin? Let's start a real, honest conversation in the comments below. I read as many as I can because your stories are the real data that helps this community grow. I am Dr. Katherine Bennett. Your health is your greatest wealth, and protecting it is my highest priority. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in our next deep dive into the truth about aging well. Stay healthy, stay informed, and I'll see you soon.